how do you feel in those moments? I'm not worthy. How do we remove that? And what words would you like to replace every single one of those words with? You choose them. Happiness, joy, whatever it is. And where do they occur? It occurs with my husband, it occurs with my kids, it occurs with my partner, whatever it is, my business, my why, and what is it?
Let's get ready to rumble! I am the greatest. I have a dream.
Leg, I'm coming for you.
Got it! Got it!
Is this your shortest fight ever?
I have wrestled an alligator. I done tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, through under his bed.
Hey, welcome to the first VT Ground Zero podcast of 2024. I've got two special guests, the lovely Tara, manager and owner of VT Picton. Welcome, Tara.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Mate, you're a long time we've been waiting for this, mate. So it's our pleasure. And the one and only Jeffro Morgan. Good afternoon, Jeffro.
Good to be here.
Good to be here. Yeah. Before we get started, obviously, this podcast, what we want to do is just talk about how to be better humans in general and our tips and probably processes to being those better humans. But before we get started, Tara, can we just get a brief introduction?
On myself?
Of course.
My name's Tara and we are the first franchise for VTT. So it's been an amazing year so far. Lots of learning, lots of growing. I'm a mum of 3, 38, and loving life.
And what made you get into the gym space, Tara?
I think for myself and Kyle, we have been in the fitness industry, just training at local gyms for as long as we've been together, 22 years.
Wow. Wow, you don't get that much for robbery.
Yeah.
True story.
And it's always been a dream of ours. So when the opportunity came and we really looked deep into VTT, the biggest thing for myself was the mindset component.
Yep.
And that's what signed us up. We were looking at other gyms and they just didn't have the same approach. So that's what sort of got us over.
Yeah, nice. And looking at mindset in particular, if you don't have a strong or a disciplined mindset, then all the other pillars are going to go out the door. Your training, nutrition, recovery, etc. So it's only right to make sure that is part of our main focus.
Yeah.
Jeffro.
Yeah.
I'll let you do the intro, mate. I can do it, but I probably won't do it as good as you, man. Fire away, bro.
Young kid, 12 years of age, out on the streets, 20 years in custody, brother, sister, suicide, both parents cancer, destructive, dysfunctional. I was about the same man, I'd say boy, that became a warrior in between that journey. A lot of heartache, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. And when none of us want it, we accept it and we sort of just go down our path and think it's totally normal. And, we then go out and deal with it with dysfunctional behaviours, go out and get on drugs, alcohol, toxic behaviours, sleep around behind our partners' backs, all that stuff. So had to take ownership, accountability, responsibility, and it was all around what you spoke about, the mindset. And I realised, as a PT, a qualified nutritionist, being in a gym space, I was telling everyone and preaching everyone, make sure you live a healthy lifestyle. That was more than just lifting weights and obviously eating good food. So it was about how you act, how you behave. Yeah, all of the elements of life, relationships, financially. Are you strong financially? And that, come down to that component. And that's why I stepped away. Brother, sister commit suicide. I'll go from the gym setting into the wellbeing space, and we just want to build better humans. So take good actions. She's got a husband and so for her partner to be able to make that right choice. For me to make the right choices, sitting around in environments that could send me down a destructive path. We think it's cool. High five. Hey, Troy, guess what? I got this blondie on the weekend. But realistically, that's men talk. That's the reality, right? If we're going to be real about this. And the reality is, until we, it's all good in that moment, but your husband gets caught out and now you're left as a single mother with 3 kids, and you have to see and work out the whole kid scenario. Drive to that location, drop the kid off, maybe not even see the kids because you can't be mature enough to. So this mindset conversation is so deep, and it's something I'm really passionate about. And seeing my brother and sister commit suicide, no signs leading up to it. They just really a shock to this family, I suppose, because there was no signs, there was no nothing. We just don't talk about it on the back end of it. And if we can have the mindset of vulnerability, I put it out there and I'm not proud of the stuff I'm sharing. I'm sharing so that we as a society can start to say, hey, this is how we can shift and change, draw a line in the sand and step across and be better for it.
Yeah. Vulnerability is a big thing, isn't it, mate?
How many men would do that on a podcast that's going to go out to, girls might look at me and say, what a piece of X, Y, or Z, right?
Yeah.
And I understand that, but I'm cool with that. Chapter 5 isn't who I am at chapter 55. I'm a strong warrior and I make the right decisions because I took that ownership and accountability I spoke about. And until we do that, and it will come from, for me, it was the behaviours as a kid that were built from the 12-year-old kid that ran away on the streets thinking his parents didn't love him. I need to be validated by this girl. Oh, you give me a number, sweet. Don't worry about Sally over here. Let's catch up. They got a husband. The husband's calling me, come fight me. Like, it's all toxic.
It comes down to like self-worth and
100%,
all of that stuff, like you were saying with being a child and not feeling love. So you sort of look outside of yourself rather than looking within.
Absolutely.
To be able to feel that validation, I think.
Absolutely.
And when you were saying too about like what other women think you're a pig or this or that because of what you've done, I think a lot of women too look at that and, think that you're brave and think that, wow, like he's actually, coming forward and saying this. Like I feel like that's a big step and a lot of women appreciate that.
Yeah, because in the end, your husband might be on the end of the better choices or someone's partner, and that, the kids that are involved in the middle. And that, going back to that gym conversation, that's why I love, honestly, Troy, what you do, because you go beyond just letting someone come in and train. They come in and train because they're probably trying to escape from something. Their thoughts, self-limiting thoughts, behaviours, beliefs built from past experiences. My partner cheating on me, I'm not good enough, pretty enough, smart enough, whatever it is, and they come in and this is their release, and then you tack on that mindset, you really start to flip someone into actual change within a space, because you can give them as much nutrition and training as you want, but if they don't change this and what I call their invisible backpack, they'll carry it forever.
100%. Well, mate, they need, ideally you're going to need some sort of mental toughness to overcome the voice in your head that tells you not to go to the gym, or when you open the fridge there's some snacks that the kids might have or something. So it's kind of all intertwined, and it's something that is paramount. I think, to be honest, it's the most important thing.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I think it's the game changer. A lot of our members say that's the component they stay for. They love the training. They love to see how far they've grown, but it's the mindset that you put into everything, Troy, is what keeps them there, and the feeling like they belong and that they can grow on the inside too is what makes everybody stick. It's really important.
You can come to the gym, but if you don't have the step-by-step process, how to unpack that invisible backpack, what you're carrying, you're a prisoner of your mindset. You're not breaking free of the shackles that are holding you back in life.
Definitely.
And it's an escape for an hour while you come here, but you tack on that build and you say, here, I'm going to plug in this mindset, and that shifts that person from destruction to construction, dysfunctional to functional, and sad to happy, and all of the yin and yangs. And in the end, that's what we come to the gym for, right?
Yeah.
To build your quality of life.
Definitely, 100%. So at the moment, obviously, we're running a challenge called the VT Tough Challenge. It's a 6-week program for anyone that's listening. We do have Jeff running the mindset piece. It was only right to bring in an expert and a professional that does it for a living. So we're very grateful to have Jeff part of this program. Now, I know from the past, like I mentioned, when we have run similar programs to this, we've done surveys. We even made a few videos and asked people what the easiest thing about the challenge is and what the hardest thing is. And 90% of people were saying that the training was the easiest thing, where normally people would say that's the hardest. But when you're going into, cold shower protocols and digital detoxes and, putting people outside of their comfort zone on a regular basis with certain things that they take for granted, like being warm and all the other little bits and pieces, they're the things that really start to become difficult. Now, I know that we, or a lot of people will talk about how, we want to build better humans and everything, but I wanted to get you two guys onto the program and ask us what would be, if you're starting out, your mindset, your journey, what would be, maybe the top or first 3 things that someone should do, because it's easy to talk about this, but how do people implement it? What would be the top 3 or 5 things that people should look to do when starting out either their fitness journey or their self-discovery journey, in a sense?
Yeah.
Well, I think the first thing is to commit. Like, it might feel uncomfortable and it might be scary, but, jump, go for it. Like, we're not going to grow unless we're uncomfortable, because otherwise we're doing the same thing. I think also setting up a really good routine as well for your mindset, not just your eating, not just your booking in your training, but some non-negotiables to get your head right. So, like, for me, non-negotiables, mission statement in the morning, meditation, journaling of a night time, and then connecting with people that really, implement and bring their higher selves as well. So I feel like the people you surround yourself with is a massive thing, and that's what the most amazing thing about this gym and about this challenge is, that we've got groups of people coming in and doing it together and sticking together and sharing their tips and tricks. So definitely go for it, jump in, setting up some non-negotiables to keep you on track, and then the people that you hang around, like, make sure that you're all committed and keeping each other accountable.
Definitely.
Love that. For me, I get everybody to do a weekly planner. So people tell me they don't have time, the most valuable commodity.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. And I go, all right, show me your weekly plan. And they're like, what do you mean? I don't even have one. And I'm like, well, that tells me a lot already. Show me your diary. And you'll know this. In your diary, 8 a.m, I've got to be at work. 8:30, I've got this meeting. 9 o'clock, this meeting. And you'll show up relentlessly to those. But what are you doing in your weekly planner for yourself?
Yeah.
Me time, right? Husband and wife time, as an example. Those sorts of conversations. And if they're not in there, what's the chances of it happening? It's sort of remote, right? The little red car story. How many red cars did you see on the way here for both of you? Did you count? None of you count, right? But if I say tomorrow I'll give you $100,000 for every red car on the way from wherever you're travelling to.
I saw about 5,000 on the way to work if you're giving me $100,000.
Absolutely, right? And he'll film it, right? Because now that
I'll be going a long way, that's for sure.
Intention in his focus is in your weekly planner. So if at 8 o'clock I train, there's no non-negotiable. She spoke about it before. It's not. I turn my phone on airplane mode. I train and I get into it. I might listen to a podcast. People are like, don't you listen to music? Yeah, I listen to music. But sometimes I'll be in a zone, and that dedication, that presence to that time that I'm giving to that space, which would be my second tip. Yep. We can be in this space and chat, but just go, mindset, get beast mode. And that's it. That's just surface level.
Yeah.
What are the steps, as you said, and what are the depth on those steps? Second one, she spoke about it as well, internal versus external. We focus so much on, what's he doing? What's that person doing? The war, the wars that are going on, this thing that's going on. The most important thing, and I ask everybody during our program, what do you focus on most, right? And what is it? My family. What would you do? When I work with professional sporting clubs, and give you context to what Troy was talking about, Department of Defence, Ministry of Health, these major organisations we work with, all the sporting clubs across the country, NRL clubs. When we go in there, we're talking about what can you control? And if they're talking about the other team and, all right, these players do X, Y, and Z, if you don't prep and you don't strengthen condition, you're going to walk out on that field and get pumped. You do the same thing in life, you're going to get pumped by life.
Yeah.
Destruction, dysfunction, heartache, PTSD, whatever label you want to use. And then probably the last one I'd say on a mindset level is the only person that can build that circle and what you put into the internal is you. So the labels that you have on yourself, I'm not worthy, I'm not valued, I'm a piece of whatever you put, I've got PTSD, I've got this. We've got, a bloke from the area, he's got one arm, does CrossFit, he's unbelievable. I was with him yesterday.
Mrs. trains here.
Yeah, and he's and I've seen a bloke recently at Gold Coast Airport, his arms were like, he had, I don't know, even, I want to be respectful about it, but he was texting, he opened a packet of things, we focus on, I'm not as fit as that person. I don't have as much money as them, so I can't do it. You've got to become a champion of being a beginner. And that
100%.
means that just saying, she can do more burpees. That's cool. I can't believe a girl can do more burpees. That's good. I'm proud that she can actually, she inspires me then to go out and not beat her, but be better for myself.
Yep.
And that's where we've got to get out of, I'm in competition with the next person. Just be in competition with yourself and enjoy the journey.
100%. Man.
Yeah.
Love that.
100%. I'm a big advocate for setting goals, and the reason why
Huge.
that would be my kind of tip, to make sure that when people are starting out, they make sure they understand the reason that they're doing it. They're not doing it for an ego, or they're not doing it for just a six pack or whatever. They're doing it for a deep internal reason that drives them to keep staying there. Instead of just being just something that will I don't want to swear, but just something that's going to be come and gone in an instant. Because you can't have a six pack all your life, or most people can't. Looking good for summer is just for summer. So what happens in winter? So ideally, if they have a deep why, then it's going to keep them on the right path if they keep reminding themselves of it. So with that as well, I'm a big believer in accountability. So having that accountability tracker or accountability partner, and then like Jeff said earlier, being vulnerable. If you are vulnerable, then making sure that you open up to that person or group, or even to yourself, and admitting, doing some self-reflection to make sure that you are, being honest, and then that person or yourself gets you back on the right track, because it's so easy just to, feel ashamed, or, that you've let yourself down, or to hide in a group and just, be another number. But really deep down, if you're, constantly reminding yourself of why these things are important, and then being vulnerable, I think that it's a good way to start.
The goals thing, just to tack on to that, I do what's called a layered approach in our program. So the layered approach is 10 deep.
Yep.
So you got to do 10. So if you say, I want to get a six pack, what are the 10 things you need to do to start the head towards it?
Action steps.
Start a business, and I'll write it out. I'll get them to write it out and take an action right there, right then, while we're in the group.
Yep.
And that means that same thing, accountability, being proactive, being productive. It happens right there.
Yep.
If you can do it once, you can do it 10 times, 100 times, and so forth. And the second one I wanted to tackle on, the second part of that conversation was about vulnerability.
Yep.
Being in a space where you're not judged by the person.
Definitely.
Because we've all been there, right? And we've all done something that we wish we could have done better. Understand sometimes your level at Chapter 5 was an uneducated, immature level. And it doesn't excuse it, but it just means that you recognise it because you've matured and said, you know what, I can be better at this space. So if someone come in and says, I'm looking at these guys' pictures, what's making you do that or feel that particular way, and have that conversation rather than talk solutions, not, are you serious? What type of girl are you? Have that conversation. And if I got that judgment, I must have the solution to the problem. Why wouldn't I give it to her? Make sense?
100%, man.
Simple.
Yeah.
No judgment. Stand side by side and help each other to be better humans, as you spoke about.
Definitely.
Can I talk a little bit about, Troy, when you said sort of people coming in and, if they don't have their sort of mindset or have their goals sort of in place? I think what I found also is a lot of people do jump on these challenges off and on.
Yeah.
And what this one is about sustaining and building all of those positive mindset tools and all of those things so they can continue on with this, not just within this challenge, but afterwards. And I find with these, some other challenges that are around, people are constantly looking for that high, and they're constantly, going for that sort of goal in that time space. But because the mindset and not doing the internal work is sort of done in these challenges, they go back to where they are, put their weight on, their mindset shit again, and then they find another challenge to jump on. So they're not actually, doing the work, like the vulnerability, keeping accountable, all of those little steps. So I think with this, it is the perfect challenge.
Yeah, the process is actually the goal, not the end result.
Yes, exactly.
It's not about the body or whatever. It's the process will become the goal, and then by the end of it, you should be ideally the person that you always wanted to become.
That's what I love about this, because that's what it's about. It's about being the highest version of yourself. And, you know, instead of going off the challenge and getting back to square one, well, what are you doing on the inside? Why aren't you looking at all those bits and pieces in order to sustain it and be the best person or better?
Yeah.
So
I think the challenge too, a lot of people come into challenges thinking, I'm going to do this for 10 weeks, you know, get leaner, and I can't wait to have a drink at the end of the 10 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Are we going to have an after party, Troy?
Yes.
No,
No
after party.
That's
Maybe we'll go have an after hike or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love that. That would be unbelievable. But most people expect a party at the end, and most people already have the plans. Oh, at the end of this 10 weeks, brother, I'll catch up with you, and we'll go bender and we'll go party, all right? I've heard it. I've been amongst it, and I understand.
See it all the time, man.
Yeah. Get into a challenge, and this is for everybody. Listen, get into the challenge of the process and changing your life. So the idea is to create the habits that you don't have within your life. You're not doing it for that 10-week period. You're doing it to build a framework for the rest of your life to be the best of your life. And when you understand that, it changes your whole perspective of how you're participating. Because now you're like, oh, I've got to do this workout. All right, I'll get through this 10 weeks, or 9 weeks, 6 days to go. And you're on a countdown. Like, this is about, hey, this is my life, and I'm changing, and I'm committed to the greatest version of myself. My mentality creates a better reality when I think differently on the lens and perspective of the world. And that's something that every single person in this challenge should be thinking about. How can I show up and change? If I'm eating chocolate at night and now I exchange it for a piece of fruit, you've done something. And 10 weeks later, I stuffed the fruit, I'm back to my chocolate again.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you were feeling, what emotions were you feeling? What did it stimulate for yourself? Oh, it stimulated me feeling, you know, I didn't fit in my clothes. I hated the photos I was getting at weddings. Well, then, do you want to have that again? This 10 weeks give you a chance. And I always get them to write out, what are the emotions you want? Put a circle. What are the emotions currently in your life?
Yeah.
And I go, oh, you know, sadness, resentment, envy, anger. And then I say, do you want those?
Yeah.
And how do you feel in those moments? Oh, you know, I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
How do we remove that? And what words would you like to replace every single one of those words with? You choose them. Happiness, joy, whatever it is. And where do they occur? It occurs with my husband, it occurs with my kids, it occurs with my partner, whatever it is, you know, my business, my why. And what is your why? So go back to that.
We do a similar one. We do with our members, and I get them to write out 8 buckets and
Love
8
it.
things that are really important in their life and that what they want to contribute. So for me, it was like business, relationships, obviously, family, self-development, training, and savings. So they were mine. And then underneath, I had a look at where I was putting all of my time, and it was in one bucket. It was just the business.
100%.
So it really made me reflect and have a look at, okay, like, yes, this is super important to me, but why am I leaving these other buckets empty? Because they're also important. And what are the actions, like you were saying before, that I can do to implement all of these little buckets so I can have that full life?
Yep.
Absolutely.
So things like with my partner, like booking in a, date night, even if it is once a month, like book the
Does he
dinner
take you out, Tara?
to the gym.
Oh, mate, so romantic. Hey?
Best place to take,
Smooth,
I reckon.
bro. Smooth, Kyle.
But
Hey?
Yeah, so it's really important that you do actually be real with yourself and have a look
Absolutely.
and write it down. Like, get real, get vulnerable with yourself. Have a look at where you're lacking. What can you do in order to fill those other buckets up? And give me 4 action steps
Yeah.
to do
Love
it.
that.
Yeah.
We've got the same sort of principle. I think they've looked at my program. But what I get them to do with a weekly plan, and just like this board, it's got different colours on it. And you can look at the board and go, it was all blue, business, or green, whatever colour you had it for, business. And you're like, what about me time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about inner peace? All the words,
Yes.
quality of life, your
Yes.
financials. Are you saving so that you can go on a holiday with your partner? When I talk to corporates as an example, did one big group, about 30, right? 30 high performers hadn't been overseas for 5 years, Troy. Wow. And I go, so what about the money you're making? I'm going to set my family up. And I go, when was the last time you kicked it? You got kids? Who's got? Yeah, we all got kids. When was the last time you kicked a footy, shot a netball with
Yeah.
your kid, or went and did something,
Yeah.
like, or even with your wife, date night?
Yeah.
I said, do you reckon your wife feels valued? Do you reckon your kids feel loved? and they're sitting there, and I can see their heads spinning.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, I said, show me your planner, and it's all
Work.
business, 5 a.m. till 10 at night.
Yeah.
I'm setting up my family. I said, ask your kid what they want.
Yeah.
And they go and ask them, come back, and I said they just want to feel, they wanted a hug and they want to feel love. And they want 1 minute of my time.
Yeah, just
And
the
I'm like,
time. It's like making memories, being present,
Yeah.
enjoying the little moments. It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. You know, like I got into a habit of sending Clarissa a message. So like
Love
she
that.
she one of her
Love
like her
languages.
love languages was quality time, and even that time when I'm not with her was for me to be thinking of her. So she loves getting text messages. If I call her, I could call her 10 times a day, but she would rather one text message
Yeah.
because
Love
that
that.
text message just takes a little bit more time for me to send to her. So
I love that you
being-
guys are communicating about that too. 'cause
Yeah,
a
I'm
lot of
not.
people don't
I'm
do
not
that.
the best at doing it, so I need to write it down in my diary. If I don't have it in my diary, a lot of the time I'll forget.
Perfect.
You know, but it's just a simple, message, voice to text, send her a nice message, and that night, mate, I'm getting a massage. There's dinner cooked. There's everything, mate. I'm in the good books for the next week.
love it,
So
right?
But
good.
then if I forget, I'm in shit.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, 100%.
Put it in your diary, like you said, and set an
Yeah.
alarm on your phone. Because
Yeah.
I guarantee if you work for somebody and I'm working for them, they say 9 o'clock, I need to see you about the classes. I'm going to show up at 8:55,
Yeah.
or what you should be, or quarter to 9, right? Why is that so important? And then you're telling me that you die for your kids, but you can't even send them or my missus, I'll protect her with my life.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
even send a text, brother.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not having a knock. This is an awareness.
Yeah, 100. You know what it is? It's about
100%.
creating that habit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Put it in
And-
your
and your
diary,
awareness.
it rings, and then you just sit
Yep.
there, try and go, every Monday it might be, right? And you could send one every day. Put it in your diary, put on repeat
Yep.
every day for the next 5 years, and you just send a text. Just wanted to know that you were beautiful.
I reckon it still
Whatever-
counts if I use ChatGPT.
Oh my God. Seriously.
I'm joking.
No, it's got to come from me.
I'm joking.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, to feel validated is massive. And,
Yeah.
you guys have been together a long time. It's,
Yeah.
you're best friends, and sometimes you can fall
She's
into
legend.
that.
Yeah.
So,
Easy.
Just going back to that little chat we're having about the challenge only being like a 6-week or 10-week thing. Now I know there's been, and no doubt you would have heard a little bit about it, Tara, about there being no meal plans. Like people are going, oh, where's a meal plan?
Yes.
Now we've given meal plans in the past, and
Yeah.
Jeff, no doubt, you've plenty of experience with your programs as well. When you give a meal plan, people see that as 6 weeks or 4 weeks or a structured meal plan that they have to stick to, and if they don't, they're gone. So that's why we've gone away from the meal plans
Love it.
and gone to just guidelines, guidelines that are going to keep people on the right path.
Yeah.
Like lowering their, eliminating their sugar intake and their artificial sweeteners, and recommending a 12-hour fast because of all the benefits of doing a 12-hour fast, and all those other little bits and pieces that can be put on repeat forever.
yeah.
absolutely.
Building the habit.
Building the
The
habits.
mindset, like for them to actually get out and do the research and
Yeah.
do the work,
100%.
not just if you
Handed
get
something.
handed something, you are going to fall off the train or whatever,
Because what happens, they're not learning anything.
Yeah.
If we're going to build better humans, it's ideally growth. Our growth mindset is one of those things. Want to make sure that these people are growing throughout the challenge and not just being spoon-fed something that when the challenge finishes, they're no better off.
Yeah.
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 Just touching on that growth mindset, Jeff, when you said, when people become vulnerable,
Yep.
ideally, if you're going to adopt that growth mindset, when someone is being vulnerable towards you, or being vulnerable to you, ideally having that growth mindset and opening up and understanding that this person isn't saying it to be an egotistical person or gloating. They're saying it because they need help, and that ideally have that growth mindset instilled, and you'll be able to ideally help that person instead of judging them.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of protection mechanisms, and everybody got to understand this on a mindset level where, if it doesn't suit our narrative, we block up.
Yeah.
The ego goes like this.
100%.
I'm the expert in this space, you're an expert in this space. It could be neuroscience, and you're telling me about the brain. I'm like, no, brother, I'm blocking you off. There's no way. I
Huberman.
protect myself.
Huberman.
Huberman, as an example. Who's he? He doesn't know any. Like, it is the craziest way.
Yeah.
And we think we're protecting ourselves. We're actually doing the total opposite, and we're actually messing ourselves up even more. So being able to say, wait a second, he's an expert for a reason. Do what my grandmother taught me, listen and learn. To sit there and when I say listen and learn, you should have a notepad and be writing down everything that someone's sharing with yourself, saying, I'm going to take that up. And I've seen you take some notes, maybe that might put into future challenges. And that's what we should be doing on a regular basis. This is the expert. What do you say, Tara? And she's telling me about how a girl functions. I'm listening because how can I put that into my program, right?
Yeah.
But people go, block. It's not my pathway. It's not my narrative. I feel safe in this bedroom, isolated rather than elevated in life. And I'm cool with that. And what we do on the back end of that is get comfortable with the life of acceptance, and that leads to a life of regret. So my biggest tip to everybody is put the arms down, put the shield away, listen and learn, step into that space and say, how can I learn, grow, prosper from this conversation, information, education and knowledge? And I promise you your life will be a better one. Because I was a kid, to give you the example of that didn't listen and learn from my grandmother, and it cost me 20 years in custody as a bank robber. And for me to be able to step out of that space, I had to drop my guard and have these conversations with people. And that's what changed me, and it will change you too when you step into that space.
Yeah, I feel like too, when something triggers you, I think that that's something that you have to work on. So if somebody is putting that up and saying, oh, what do you know? Or, that's obviously affected you and triggered you for a reason. So looking at on the inside and asking those big questions, like, why is that annoying me? Or why don't I want to learn? Again, it's a self-reflection.
Absolutely.
So if it is triggering you, I really advise you guys to, look deep, look within. Why is this annoying me? Why is this getting to me?
Journal it out.
Yeah.
Think about the first response to anything. As a kid growing up in Redfern, one of Australia's most notorious streets, Everleigh Street, Redfern, our first response was violence, right? It's for me to get out of that space. So if I pull up at lights, the husband's looking at me like, what's your problem, bro?
Yeah.
And you get out of the car. That's immaturity. That's like my first response is built that way. So your neural response or plasticity, we want to start to mold that and shift that differently.
Yeah.
And to do that, you've got to say, wait a second, is this actually serving me? What will it cause for me? I'll cause stress. I'm going to fight this bloke.
Yeah.
It's caused me stress. I might get knocked out, killed, hit my head on the gutter. Is it really serving me?
Yeah.
Do I want these emotions? Why am I acting this way? Go that layered approach, 10 steps, and then start looking and go, this ain't. What can I do as a first response? And if you don't have the answer, you're reaching for it, going, I don't know what that is. You're the expert on that space. I'm going to step in, listen and learn to that person and start to get into the practice of the habit and make that process. And these 4-week, 6-week, 10-week challenges that you might run, Troy, for everybody out there, it's not a 6-week. This is a life-changing.
100%.
Forever.
To be honest, we had, at the beginning of last year, a big chat here at head office trying to dial into our model and our ethos and everything, and we really tried to stay away from doing challenges. Okay, I never ever want to do a challenge that is based on aesthetics, because people just create unsustainable, unrealistic and unhealthy habits, and that's not what we're about here. We want to make sure people are performing better, they're thinking better, they're creating better habits. And how can we adopt a challenge that is going to put those things into practice and not just something that's just short term?
Yeah.
So powerful.
Now,
just on that really quickly, people do, you've seen it, you've probably seen it, they'll come into a 4-week, 6-week, 10-week challenge, and guess what they'll do? Especially if you had, I think you had, way back when we first started, did you have prize money on the first one?
I don't know, when it was about 5 or 6 years ago when we ran it here. Absolutely. I think there was prize money, there might have been.
And what happened, I'm pretty sure you had a male, female, and a lot of gyms would do this. And what they do, and we've learned over time and we've shifted away from it, and you're very progressive, where you've taken this on and started to take it away from that, because we see people starving themselves,
100%.
Not eating anything. It's unsustainable, not maintainable. For me, sustainability, maintainability, and most importantly, enjoying the journey as well. And when we say here's $1,000 for each male and female winner, I'm starving myself. I'm running.
Yeah, you're
I'm
rewarding the
walking.
wrong behaviours, really.
Crazy.
We actually had at our orientation, someone said, "What's the prize for this? Like, what do we win? What's
There
the
you go.
prize?" And I said, "Well, there is a prize. It's a surprise." I said, "But the prize is you. Like, the
100%.
prize is you making the change, long-lasting change. That's
Definitely.
the prize."
That's enjoying the journey. So,
Yeah.
like we used to have a program, and we still got it. It's called 55 Tough. It was like it was about 5 or 6 years ago that we ran the first one. I had heard about 75 Hard. I didn't know anything about it, although Andy Frisella was someone that I was listening to quite regularly. And 75, we created 55 Tough. It was very different to 75 Hard. We had changed the rules every week. We implemented things like sleeping on the floor, giving to the poor, sleeping outside, doing things that are going to create gratitude, because not everyone has a roof over their head. You know, we put the cold shower protocol in and all these other bits and pieces like reading and that. But I know when I did it, and whenever I do something like this, I always put in 110%. And I think by week 3, mate, I was bulletproof. Nothing was standing in my way. You know, I was on, and it was so obvious of the person that I had become to me, and the person that I wanted to be, and that I'd been looking for so long. And I wish, and I honestly, the reason that we've gone back to this is because the feeling that I got, I want everyone to feel.
Yeah.
Because it's the integrity, that self-respect.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What a feeling. You know, I see it in Jeff, you know, talking about playing up on your partner, not going out and have benders, living and just being, having the integrity and the honesty of your word, and also what you tell yourself. If I tell myself that I'm eating good food, I'm eating good food.
Yeah.
Because, or if I'm training 5 times a week, I'm training 5 times a week. Or it's 30 burpees on the board, I'm doing 30 burpees, not 28 and then standing up like I've done everything.
Yeah.
That
Love
integrity is priceless. The feeling that you get from that, I'll tell you, everyone should feel and should hold themselves to that standard forever.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to train like an animal forever. You don't have to, you know, starve yourself. You can reward yourself at time to time, you know, from time to time, but implement it into your life and allow yourself these luxuries. Okay, so then you're not feeling like you're cheating yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so good.
And it should be ready at all times of life. So
100%.
preparation meets opportunity, bang.
Yeah.
And I don't have to, I better get ready now. I'm in a position where I've done all the groundwork on myself.
Yeah.
And you spoke about, even on respect level, right? If I say to someone, respect, what's it mean? And they go, I don't even know. I'm not too sure. Go and do 10 steps on respect. And is it to women? Is it to the husband of the partner? Is it to another business person transaction? Your teammate, your
What about
kids?
respect for yourself?
And most importantly,
Yeah.
Self-respect,
at the
yeah.
end is you.
Yeah.
Because what we'll do is we'll put it into everybody else. And I always ask everybody, you know, who's the most important person in the world to you? And they go family, partner,
Yeah.
husband, kids. And I go, what about you? I said, it all starts with you, because if you ain't there and you get any form of disease because you haven't looked after yourself, you tell me you'll die for your kids, but would you live for your kids?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
And then when you say, and they go, and they say, yeah, I actually would. All right, tell me the next 10 steps. Write it out
Yes.
right here. Now pull your phone out. And I could be on the street. And they're like, are you serious? I'm like, right now, let's do it.
Yeah.
I said, I'll help you. And I said, I've got to get to a meeting, but let's think about it. And I'll get them to write it out right there and say, now implement it and text me, and I'll text you back. And that way, I'm not just talking like surface level. I'm going to help you, mate. I'm going to help you, girl. Yeah, I'm actually stepping into that space and saying, I want to build better humans and a better world. And
Yeah.
You know what? And imagine if
life-changing.
people would surround themselves with that conversation constantly, right? Like being with your closest friends, being with your family, and that is the conversation you're having, not that surface level shit.
Absolutely.
That's why we've gone into the groups.
Yeah.
And that's
you know?
why I align with this gym. I'll be honest with everybody. Like I don't do, if a gym, I get offered all the time and I say, what's your plan? Oh, it's to get the lowest body fat. Who can, there's $5,000 giveaway for this supplement brand. And I'm like, what you're going to drive is everybody's doing it, what's unrealistic, and you're going to make, all these, do we want a girl
guilt,
to think
shame, like
starving themselves normal?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then out of the challenge, what are they going to do? The habit you've built is what? If she loses and gets down to 9% body fat, starving herself, and then she goes back to normal eating and goes to 15, but still looks great, healthy.
Just waiting for the next challenge again.
Nah,
100%.
Guess what she'll do? I don't feel good enough. I don't fit in that dress.
Yes.
Oh, I can't see that side lining of my abs.
Yeah.
I'm going back to starving myself again.
Yeah.
And is that, like, as a qualified nutritionist, is that what I'm teaching you?
Yeah.
And that's why I don't align, and that's why I align with this gym so much, because of what you're doing, your mindset around it.
Well,
Thanks,
even
Jeffa.
when we did the Unleash at our gym for the first time,
Yeah.
a lot of our members had come from existing gyms, especially the women, and couldn't understand that we were telling them to eat more.
Yeah.
So when you're hungry to eat more,
Yeah.
they were just blown away because they're all used to being on 1,800 calories to strip down, lose their weight, and, do that. So again, like another reason why this platform is so amazing is these women are now, they look fucking insane. Like
Yeah.
the women in our gym are walking
Love
in,
it.
they're so strong, their shoulders are back, they've got their group, like the transformation literally from the inside out, doing all of these processes, mindset, nutrition, the training, community, you put it all together and it is a hybrid athlete, right? Like both mind, body, soul. So
Love that.
everything.
See with that too, the thing, and this is for females, right? If you don't have that strength in one space, you won't have a boundary in another space. And when I tell you that I love you, oh, you're beautiful, oh, you look great in that, you'll just walk straight in. You'll let me walk straight in that door. And I used to do it all the time, every day, relentlessly, right? Until we build the strength around respect, values, morals, beliefs. What are your boundaries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go 10 deep on it. And guess what? Now you build yourself, and I mean this in the nicest way, you build yourself to a 10 of your behaviours, thoughts and beliefs. And what happens is you'll find a 10 in that space. Because now you're not going to find, you're going to look at a 1 and go, oh, I know what you're doing. And you just like, oh, it's not my space. I respect you. You do your way of life, but I'm not going to waste my time, energy and effort on this space. So I'm walking out of here.
Love that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
now she'll find somebody. You found a husband that's been together 22 years. You found somebody that respects you, values you, cares for you. Anniversary time, does something tonight, brother. I'm giving you big ups here, but in general, that's the thing. And this is for everybody out there. Your mindset will be a set mind based on the level that you take it to. And I don't... Yeah, it's a judgment of yourself, not me judging you. You can say, you look in the mirror, the person in that mirror, and I look at it and go, you're a warrior. You're going to show up today and make everything happen. You're looking at it and going, I wish I could do that. And all it takes, as we go back to that thing, one step into this challenge, do the things that are on the challenge and start to put them into your diary and make them your habits and rituals to the greatest version of yourself. And on the end of it, for females out there, you protect your space, and I hear it all the time. Now you can say that person's not my person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Love that.
They're on their own journey, but they're not at the journey where they're at a level where I want that person in my space.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They'll make me feel good for a moment, intimacy or their words, but their actions are going to make me feel even worse. And people can't get out of it because, but she told me she loved me.
Yeah.
Or he told
Yeah.
me, once you understand that you're at 10 and you don't accept that behaviour, even showing up late for me, when I was like at a point where I was by myself, I started going, if this girl shows up late, I just don't want a part of it.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't respect me. And if
Yeah.
she doesn't respect me there, what do you reckon happens when she needs validation from that bloke that's got maybe more money than me? And that's what she wants. She's
Or
gonna
more hair.
More hair than me. She's going to shift and move, right? So that respecting yourself at that level, you'll get to a level of 10 around respect or values, morals, and then you won't accept anything.
Yeah. I feel
100%,
like the same with Kyle and I. Like, we've been together for such a long time, but I did feel like I was completely outgrowing him.
Yep.
I was wanting to be better, do better. My head was in a different space. And, we had to have that on an honest conversation.
Love
I
that.
said to him, like, I love you, but if you're not willing to grow, then, we're not going to get anywhere. So it took, I guess, for me to have my boundary and have that step, and I was the example. So I lived, breathed, and did everything that I said, and it allowed him to see that and want to work on himself, not for me, not for the kids, but himself. And now he's, compared to what he used to be like, he's
Mate,
amazing.
I can see it in Kyle. He's,
Yeah.
he's definitely got a growth mindset. And
Yeah.
he's definitely
well, especially since you know, actually watching him in the space that you've provided for us has just been a highlight of mine, because he's fully come out and he's like lives and breathes it. So it's
Love
so
that.
good.
Big
Yeah.
shout out to him. And, us men don't shout out enough to men that actually do
No.
that stuff. So
I
big
love
shout
that.
out, because it is like even Sal and I will have that conversation.
Yeah.
I'm leveling up, and I want you to come with me. I love you.
Yeah.
And same thing. Sal's said, how do I? You know, it's about her. What are your
Yes.
thoughts around this? What are your thoughts around business, and what could we get out of the business, and what are you
Yes.
looking to achieve out of the business? Getting her to do that herself, so she knows why she's committed.
Yeah.
Or she might not be, and if that's not my person at some point in time,
Yeah.
I'd rather her say, I think we've outgrown each other,
Mm.
and we'll go in a direction. Because I don't want that direction.
Yeah.
I just want to chill with life and go for drinks on the weekend.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
You smoke, I don't smoke. You, whatever it may be, have toxic behaviours. I don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go our own ways. But what most people do, let's make it work because we're partners.
Yeah.
And you see it all the time. People with kids, they're doing their best. They sleep in different bedrooms.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's not a strong mindset. That's not a growth mindset. Even if I've saved so many, I wouldn't say saved so many marriages or relationships, and I was the worst toxic person for relationships, right? But what I do get is if they have a realization, we're not each other's people, but we've got kids, and let's be mature. Let's not
Work
go through
together.
the courts.
Yeah.
Let's, you see the kid, it's better for you to see them on the weekends, you have them during, and that you two have that effective communication with each other. That's beautiful, because now your kids
I
are
went
role
through that.
modelled.
Yeah.
Role modelled in the right way. Hey, our parents weren't there together, but they were great parents.
Yeah.
And even at Christmas, maybe, for me and Sal, her ex-husband came to Christmas, and
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. And they got kids together, and we just interact, and it's all respectful.
Yeah.
You cross a boundary, then, mate,
It won't
it's
happen,
different.
but no doubt, if you got that mutual respect, it's like me and my ex, like she lives in Coffs Harbour. When we go up to tag or whatever,
Tag.
to watch the kids, or if we're playing, like she'll come and watch, sit there with my missus at the moment, and
Yeah, so good.
we'll go back to her house and have a feed, all of us, and
Yeah.
it's got to be amicable, because once again, you got kids involved. Definitely, I got three sons. Not only
Yes.
that, but like they want to know that they feel comfortable to talk to me about their mum, and vice
Yeah.
versa, because there's nothing worse than them being, feeling restricted and not being able to be open with their parents.
They're watching you and saying, how do we treat women?
Yeah,
I
And
love
even
that.
more so if you break up with a woman.
yeah,
And if I'm going, don't talk to your mum, she's this, that and the other.
that's wrong,
Yeah.
mate.
And guess what my son's going to do? The same thing to the next woman that comes
Probably
along.
do it to his mum as well.
100%.
You know?
And like,
Be the example, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'll make a feed, you clean it up, mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that respect? So that mindset level for all those in this challenge, I want to put it out there for yourself. What are you projecting out to the world for yourself?
Yeah.
As you
Yeah.
spoke about. So it's not, I'm going to impress my husband, my mate, or the business I'm working with. I'm going to impress myself.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? And organically, it'll happen to all those people in your proximity anyway.
Yeah.
You don't have, I'm around you, I'm going to change. Oh, yeah, how are you? And this
Put
person.
on a different
I'm just,
face.
this is me, and you either like me or you don't. And same thing, I'm going to end up with the same people around me, proximity-wise,
Yep.
that want to hike up the mountain together. You're like, I love hiking. I'm like, far out. I'll do it to pick up this girl or make friends or whatever it may be. Find your environment and be in that environment. Be you, do you. It's the greatest job you'll ever have on this planet.
Definitely.
And it's the easiest one when you just be yourself.
Okay. Just to put it into like simple terms. Okay. Obviously we spoke about probably like our top 3 tips to get started. What would be? I know like we've probably touched on it, but if we can put it in once again into simple terms, what would be your top 3 tips, or top couple tips to stay on track after the program?
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I think just don't stop. Like, don't stop. You've been given these tools. You've been given all the guidelines and everything that you have at your fingertips. Like, what did they say? 6 weeks you can break a habit, but like, it's not a habit. Like, make it, a lifetime habit. So don't stop, I think. Again, I always go back to the 5 people you hang around and,
Yes.
you know, what their goals are. Like, for me at the moment, we've got a group of girls at the gym training for a triathlon. So
Nice.
every Sunday morning we get up, we do the run, we do the swim, we do the bike, and then we go have breakfast.
I say you're one of the 5.
I'm one. Wow. Yes.
She's like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, again, like finding your people, exactly what you were saying, that will lift you, that will call you out on your shit.
Yeah.
100%.
And, you know, that are their integrity for themselves is strong as well. So definitely that. And, like, look inside. Like, I can't express this anymore, that 80% of the work with your mindset, with anything in life, has got to do with your internal dialogue. And if you are pushing that to the side and focusing on that 20%, so just your action, just going to the gym, or even just your diet, you won't sustain the new growth. You won't sustain the change. So always ask those deep questions. Look within. Do the journaling. If something triggers you, ask yourself why. Like, it's the 80% work is on the inside, just not the action steps.
I like
on the
that. I
outside.
like that journaling. You know,
I journal
I
every
don't.
night.
I don't journal personally,
Mm.
but I definitely think being really aware of how you're feeling
Yeah.
when you do certain things, like after you eat certain food. I know for myself, I'll look at something like if I feel like some hot chips, and I know, and I love hot chips.
Country hot
Yeah. Like I'll look at hot chips and I go, how am I going to feel after I eat this?
Yeah,
you know, so like
absolutely.
I'm really aware, and I try and ask questions before, like we were talking about before, that first response with how you react to someone saying something to you, or you know, something happening in your life. I think you can actually look at your actions as well and think of that first response, because there's power within the space. Paul Checker taught me that.
Yeah.
There's a strong power between your thought and then your action.
Oh,
You know, so
100%.
whether you say something or whatever, you give yourself, 15, 20 second window before you act,
Yes.
and you can change or create the better option.
Love
Yeah,
that.
and
Racism.
journaling about that too, like getting real. No one has to look at it. You can be as real as you want to be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, getting it all out, it actually feels really good. It's like a weight's lifted off your chest.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Racism for me is an example.
Yeah.
Someone comes in and says, you're black so-and-so, or whatever it may be. As a kid, my first response was F you. And if
Yeah.
social media is around, I would have said, come meet me, right?
Yeah.
That would have been my old response. Imagine how many fights I would have been having every day. Or it would have ended up in, MMA would have been great for me back then. But the reality is now, I'm like, what could my first response be rather than being from violence? So I've got a link, let's say, to Australian Stories. Here's the link.
Adam Goods.
Watch. It's based on what actually happened in the settlers' first journals and diaries themselves, what they kept and what they actually did and how wrong it was and the depth of it. It was all in there, so no one can argue about it. And I just say, here, if you want to be educated around it, come back and have a sound conversation, do some due diligence, and we'll come together and merge. Greatest race on this planet is the human race when we all get on with each other.
Yeah.
And I've got a templated text, and I flick that out. And if the person says F you so and so, I just time, energy, and effort to the space. Do I want to be in it? No, I don't, and I just step away. That person at the right time will come into that conversation, and it'll usually be through a pain point. On the back end of the 3 tips you gave, I'm going to tack onto that, so a bit of a laid approach. Put that journaling or that diary or the weekly planner, set it for 5 years. Grab your phone, because you can put that on repeat and say, I'm going to text my partner in the morning, I'm going to gym these days, and they're non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
And, because you do it for your workspace, 9 to 5 every single day. Do that same relentlessness for yourself and plug it in and type in 5 years, because you can set it for how long you want it for. Do it for 5 years. So the challenge doesn't end. You've built these habits and you step into. The thing about proximity to the 5 people is, well, you've got to write those 5 people out that are closest to yourself and then say, are they a positive or negative? And it's not it's just saying, and it'll come from your family and sometimes your friends. I've let friends go recently of 20 years. Similarly, you had that little assessment with your husband. For me, I had this same scenario where I had an assessment of the friends around me, and I went, that's not my friend.
Yeah, they're not your
Because
people.
he was high-fiving me, and he's still doing the same thing. I don't want that in my space.
Yeah.
And I just I removed him out of my space to the point where I just don't even chat. I've literally said, it's not in my space, delete number. And he's like, is everything okay? I said, brother, I've got love for you and who you are, but it's just not my space anymore. And it means that I've put a boundary up.
Yeah.
and the person recognises it, because what we'll do, we'll accept that family treats us like shit. Oh, but it's my family.
No.
So, or it's my partner.
Yeah.
So, why are you doing that? What are you, and I'm just beating on her every single day. How's she ever going to elevate in life? And do I want to be, now we're both crabs in the bucket pulling each other down, not lifting one another up. So that tack on to that 5 people, are they positive or negative? Then you don't, if it's family, they're going to show up at Christmas, Easter, whatever it is that you're getting together for. I still say hello. I'll go to a funeral the other day. I still love them, but I just don't want to be in that space every day of the week.
I think with that, like I've struggled with that for a long time
It's
because
hard.
I was like, my dad's got a really big family, a lot of brothers, couple sisters, and there's like get together at Christmas. There's over 100 of us just on my dad's side, immediate first cousins and second cousins, and I was always like, keep my family close. But when they're not growing with you, when they don't align with your values, like I had to have some it was only last year, have some serious conversations with myself and say, these people, as much as I love them and I will do a lot for them, and I always have love for them, they're not the people that I want to hang around because they're not elevating me. They're actually detracting from my life.
Want to come party on a Friday night after a funeral, want to get on a drink. Can you lend me $50 every week?
Yeah.
So even now, if they say, can I lend $50 with you? I say, what if I could teach you something that would make 10 times, 100 times that? Yeah. And let's do that. And they're like, no, I need the $50 now. I'm like, no, I'm not going to enable that behaviour. I remove myself. Don't lend money to anybody. Yeah. So, and probably the last one, and this is one that you spoke about before, but very important, how you built for yourself. So I build one step at a time, and it can be around respect, values, morals, business, lifestyle, nutrition, all these elements. Put them into your diary, put it on for 5 years, and just be relentless around it. But what I do each week with the group, so everyone knows, if you've got your weekly planner like this, next week you need to add one thing. And you can habit stack that. So you might go for a walk with you, or be running with the girls, listening to a podcast. Maybe your dog's coming for a run with you. Now your partner's got involved with yourself, and all of a sudden,
on the scooters, like on the bikes.
So you've stacked it all in, and instead of doing one thing, you're compressing 20 things.
Family, relationship, training, mindset, the whole lot.
Absolutely, and vitamin D, swim in the ocean after it, so your connection to Earth, and you could write that out and go, I've done a lot of things, because people will do this stuff, but they'll do an hour on this, hour on this, hour. Consumes your whole day. So how can we just go clunk like this, put it all together, 45 minutes later, I've plugged in 10, 20 things that you haven't done in that same time. And it doesn't mean I'm better than you. It means that I've had awareness that I want. I don't want to feel the emotions of sadness, not feeling valued or not feeling strong enough. As a man, it's the weakest thing I could ever feel. So I used to think, and people would talk about me on these podcasts, Hood Superstar, Spaniard chatting about stuff like that. Hood Superstar, I didn't even show up for my kids. So I've got to be real about that, all my partners. And how can I build that better self? Here, I'm going to dedicate 5 minutes towards self-love. What's that mean? Read a book. 1 page of a book, maybe. I'm going to dedicate time to gratitude. Do you know how many seconds are in a day? Learn that. Why? Because you're telling me that time matters to you, but your actions aren't showing me. So same thing. My body, I want to build a better quality of life, but I don't go to the gym. Well, why not? I'm anxious. Guess what? How can we build something into you? Or I don't have the time. And I say, show me your time. I go, so time is more spent towards my partner, my friend, my brother at football training, my business.
Social media.
About me. Social media, screen sucking. Like through it's crazy, right? I just don't. People say to me, "Oh, Morgs, you don't follow me these days," and I'm like, brother, I don't even look at it. I'll be honest. If I open it up, that first bunch, if I look and I go, oh, do I know that person? Bang, I don't even scroll up. I'll go to my posts, read the post, and I've curated it. So same thing, what I'm feeding myself, my thoughts, behaviours, beliefs, videos, all of the above, I'm not talking about food, are good. And I'm building that superhuman you spoke about. I want to talk about building better humans. I've done the 10 steps, and I've done, when they're done, now you add, as I said, you add one new thing every single week, so you're evolving.
Well, it's never done, is it?
Correct.
It's never done. We're always growing. And I really wanted to touch on too that that growing and putting your boundaries in and layering on what you were just speaking about can be a bit lonely sometimes. I think
100%.
people are worried to go through the grief of losing the family or losing the friends because they're comfortable, and that is a really hard situation. But I think if you're brave enough to take that step, that you will bring your people in.
Yeah.
What you attract, what you focus on, you bring in.
Yeah.
And
So
you get
it's-
comfortable, don't you?
100%.
Like with managing mayhem.
Yeah.
And you go, like, mothers are the greatest examples.
Yeah.
You ask them if they could do it easier, where it was, you know, you were, I don't know, on holidays and the kids were laying down on a bed not crying and food just went in their mouth. Would they do it? They say 100% I would.
Yeah.
So we just in the end, we go, oh, this is all mayhem, and we accept it. But
Yeah.
is there better solutions to it? Have you gone down a path and had a look at, can I make this easier for myself, less stressful, more happiness, finding a peace of mind? So when I lay my head down on a pillow at night, I have not a restless night because of a restless mind. You know, I have an actual life where I wake up fresh, vibrant, directional, intentional to the greatest version of myself.
Yeah.
Love that.
Nothing else matters.
And there's nothing wrong with having a hard conversation with someone
God,
that you
no.
want to be around to get
Yeah.
them to come up, like you said with Kyle. You
Yeah.
know, like you wanted to bring him up.
Yeah.
Like if you honestly and deeply value a relationship with someone, then why not have that conversation and say, listen, you need to come on this journey with me. I don't want to outgrow you and then end up feeling like we're on different levels.
Even not saying need, even
so-
words, change the language to change
Yeah.
the outcome, the words you use.
Yep.
Because if I say you need to come with me, otherwise
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
leaving you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just saying we're on this journey, babe, or whatever it is, right? And
Come with
what's your vision of it? And then having them, and they say, I don't want no part of it.
Yep.
And he's starting to go, well, wait a second, this is where I'm headed, and this is what I'd love to see for us. And do you like traveling? What do you? So building those components. I want to travel more. We're going on that 8-week holiday.
Yep.
We're going to do that again this year, but we'll add 6 weeks in Asia as well. 100%. Instead of 8 weeks, we'll do 12 weeks. 100%. What would that look like, and what do you reckon we'd need to do to get to that point?
Yeah, so it's deeper conversations, you know, it's
100%.
opening up and having the deeper conversations. And I think for us, when we had that conversation, as I said to Kyle, like, I love you so much, but I want you to grow for you, not for me.
100%.
And that's, I think, that opening up that question. Yeah.
We have conversations of convenience.
Yeah.
We get here, hey
Yes.
Troy, how are you? Yeah, good,
Yeah, good.
mate.
What are you doing? Work? Yeah.
What are you doing on the weekend?
Yeah. What was the weekend? Oh, just went down the beach. You know?
Yeah,
And
it's so
it's
true.
just like
Rubbish.
surface level, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a business. Okay, so what have you done for that? Nothing. 5 years later, I'm going to start a business. You know,
Yeah.
same thing. We're just talking about it. We're at a party. I'm going to look cool. I'm going to do that business idea. You know, and next thing you
Do you
come
know
in
how
through
many
the,
times I've heard that?
100
Like, honestly.
from the same person.
Same person, and to be honest, it was when we were back in that hanging
same.
around those 5 people, right? But now
Hundreds.
with the people that we're surrounded by, they're these conversations, they're deeper conversations.
Absolutely.
So good.
Absolutely.
Hopefully some people got some nuggets out of that chat.
Oh
I
man, if
reckon.
you didn't get nuggets, you weren't listening.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Mate, I think we'll leave it there, guys. What do you reckon?
Powerful.
Anything before we head off?
You got any?
Tara?
I just want people to understand that it is going to take grit, determination, and self-belief, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. And if you're willing to jump in, even though it's scary, then you will go places. But just, you know, be true to yourself and, you know, prioritize yourself.
If you didn't take notes, go back, take notes throughout it, implement those into your life. I call it building your invincible mindset. People are like, that's bullshit. There's no such thing as being invincible. For me, you could do anything to me. My brother passed away last week, right, from lung cancer, and I'll keep showing up. I might crawl, and I might crawl across the glass that's on the ground, but I'm going to not stop. I'm going to be so relentless
Love that.
towards the greatest version of myself because I'm worth it. And I never used to be. So I know that you go, oh, this is bullshit, mate, because if I had this conversation with the old me, I'd have said, oh, that bloke's a wanker, right? Or what a dickhead.
Yeah.
Or something of that nature. I'm in a position now where I know it's possible, and if I can, you can.
Yeah, I love that.
Nice, Jeff.
Yeah, no matter what
Makes
is
sense.
happening or crumbling around you, that you still show up.
Absolutely.
For yourself, though.
if you know your vision, purpose, and why to life, you've got strength behind every action, and that means that when my brother, I was sitting there, he had lung cancer and he could not breathe properly, and to see that, I'm like, tomorrow morning, I woke up and said, I'm grateful, I'm blessed to be able to breathe normal. Thank you. And it isn't something that I just take for granted. And to have that conversation, and I'll look in the mirror, I'll do a 3-minute thing, shoulders are back, decrease cortisol, increase testosterone. 3 minutes, have that conversation to myself in the mirror. You're a warrior, you're doing this for why? And I'll go through, and people might go, oh, he's nuts. But what it does, it kickstarts my morning off on an absolute high, and I cement my intention, and as I said, the invincible mindset, because that means I'm not going to give up. You can shoot me with your kryptonite and all of the above, I'm going to keep coming at you until I'm that version. And I think last year was the biggest compliment to those actions. I had 10 people standing still, talking to people on an airline. They say, it trips me out. Can I say something to you? And I was like, yeah, go for gold. They go, you're a very balanced human. Who says that to someone?
That.
Yeah.
Who says that to someone, right?
Yeah.
And it's whether my stance, the clothes I'm wearing, the way I'm conducting myself, maybe on an airline, how I'm treating my partner, you go first, all of the above.
Yep.
And that projection comes out. You don't have to project.
Yeah, you are it. Like, you're the energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Professional athletes, they'll look at them and go, oh, that bloke must be an athlete or something, fighter or something.
Yeah.
Because they're built. That projection of that greatest version of myself, that comes out in that space. And, if I can present that energy, imagine feeling that energy for yourself.
Yes, I love that.
Nice,
Gave me
Jeffa.
goosebumps.
And
Love it.
That's what we want, goosebumps from yourself when you wake up and talk about how great life is.
100%.
And it is. It's great.
Life's good.
Life is good.
We'll leave it there.
Hundreds.
Peace, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.